Now, WJC's Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome into Purple Playbook. I'm Alex Glaze, joined as always by two-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith. The craziest week in Ravens history that I can recall. Just a wild week, a lot to get to. I mean, just what do you make of this week?
I mean, it's a free agency period that we did not expect. I mean, I think when I saw the news that the Ravens were trading for Max Crosby, I thought it was one of those fake accounts that I scrolled by on social media, and to see that it was potentially going to be a real thing, I was definitely excited about it. You know, energy was high, feeling really good. This is a guy that, talk about playing like a Raven, he fits it. And then the dramatics happened, and now we're here, so I know we're going to get into it.
Yeah, we're going to get into Max Crosby. We're going to get into the signing of Trey Hendrickson, and a lot of Ravens free agents leaving to go to other teams as well. But we have to start with that big news of the week, which is Max Crosby becoming a Raven and then not becoming a Raven, all within the span of, it felt like 48 hours. I mean, he was here in Baltimore doing a physical, and then something went wrong. And on Thursday, or on Wednesday, I should say, we heard from Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta about what exactly went wrong.
We've got a responsibility. I've got a responsibility to the Ravens, to this community, to our fans, and to Steve Bisciotti to do what we think is best for the club. And that's what we always try to do. Every decision we make is based on this idea: is this the best thing for the Ravens? It's very, very challenging. Nobody is more upset about this than me. Gutted by it, actually. And so a big regret for me. But we will move on as a football team, and I think there's many, many opportunities for us to grow as a team, to become a better team, to build a roster, and to be the team that we want to be.
And there's a lot of opinions, as you can imagine, about how the Ravens handled this situation. They didn't do anything wrong when it comes to the letter of the law, right? This was the legal tampering period. They agreed to terms pending a physical, and the physical, ultimately, the Ravens failed that physical for Max Crosby, reportedly. Just what do you make of this deal falling through, and do you believe, I mean, Eric says his phone is still ringing, that this is going to impact how people view the Ravens and doing deals with the Ravens in the future?
Yeah, I don't at all. When it comes to medical, like, it's a business and the player is the product, right?
And investing two first-round picks is a lot of draft capital.
It makes it really hard. So if you're looking at it, as a person with a bum knee, I have a very interesting perspective on this, because there have been times, even post-retirement, where I've asked doctors, like, if I were an active player with my knee, would I pass a physical? The answer is no, right? And sometimes I've been told in the last few years ago, like, hey, we would say, hey, we could sign you, but it couldn't be more than a year, right? And so in hearing that, first of all, I was like, dang, that's like, I'll talk about us. But on the flip side, it's a business, you're the product. So when you talk about a surgery, obviously you can always fail a guy when they aren't healthy today. But to me, to see that they actually failed, because the Ravens don't toss. Draft picks are gold in Baltimore. And the fact that they were willing to give away two of them tells you how much they thought about him. But to me, I think it simply boils down to this. If he was healthy and his knee looked good, in their opinion, you may pass for one team, you may fail for another. If his knee would have been clear where it was nothing you could really argue health-wise, I believe he would have been a Raven. However, you put anything on it longevity-wise to where it's like, hey, we're only going to be able to get 2 good years out of him, or it's going to be something where he may be on and off the training table, that's where you have to make tough decisions. And apparently that's the conclusion that they came to.
Yeah, well, now the discussion is about just how the Ravens handled this. Do you think anything was wrong with the way that they handled it? I mean, Eric DeCosta, to his credit, came out and spoke, which, I mean, they're not hiding from what went wrong, and his words were he was gutted by this, because it sounds like the plans were to have Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson here in Baltimore, but obviously that didn't happen. Just kind of how do you interpret, maybe from the league's perspective, how the Ravens are being viewed now? Because they were one of the most respected teams in the league.
Oh, yeah, it's all opinion-based, right? Like, people can be mad all they want. The reality of it is, if the Ravens wanted to trade Lamar Jackson, someone's going to get him, right? If the Ravens wanted to trade Kyle Hamilton, someone's going to pick up the phone. So the idea that, hey, we're not going to trade with the Ravens anymore, that's a joke. That's an overreaction to everyone in the media right now. However, the reality of it is when you're a player, you see, this isn't the first time the Ravens have failed someone on their physical, right? They trade for Ryan Grant from the Commanders a few years back, and they failed him at something that I remember looking at that like, oh, man, that's because Crabtree got cut. That's the only reason why they did it. This is literally identical to when to exact same thing here. Oh man, Trey Hendrickson is available. Now they're going to try to sign him without giving no draft picks, right? That's what plays through your mind. But then you go and you look at what happened with Ryan Grant. His knee didn't allow him to play the way he was supposed to. So I recognize both sides of the business. It's tough because Max Crosby was the best fit here. He plays like a Raven, man. He really does. And I'm for sure hurt for him because I know in his mind, I know what goes through your mind as a player when you travel and you envision not leaving a place, and then you like, hey man, I imagine myself being in this city. I'm looking at the hotel, I'm seeing the harbor, and just like that, it's not real. That's a lot mentally.
Absolutely. Well, the Ravens get their 2 first-round picks back, and then they ultimately end up signing Trey Hendrickson, the edge rusher out of Cincinnati. He's coming to Baltimore. Obviously, another impact player, one of the top free agents that was out there. So the Ravens do fill a need. Just what do you make of the signing of Trey Hendrickson? Obviously, pass rush, a big issue last year on the defense.
Yeah, I think it's another great signing, right? This is a guy that's been one of the better pass rushers in the league over the past few years. He's been waiting for that long-term security. The Bengals did not give it to him, so it's one of those things where you get better and you also hurt your opponent by bringing him on, and he fits a need, right? And also he didn't cost draft picks, and I think that's a big deal too. There are a lot of holes that the teams can still fill. With having that first-round draft pick this year. By the way, let's talk about that class overall of everybody that just left, right? It still felt like everyone that Eric DeCosta drafted from his class got paid, right? And that's one of the things where when you go back in history, you're going to be like, well, it doesn't matter, it didn't stay here. Well, part of being a good team at drafting is that your guys leave because you can't pay everyone. So I think they're in a spot where there are a lot of holes that still need to be filled, but they're in a great position to take care of business.
Trey, obviously coming from Cincinnati, do you think, from a player's perspective, maybe a little extra chip on his shoulder, staying in the AFC North, knowing he's going to face the Bengals twice a year?
You don't have to guess, right? Having an opportunity to play against your former team is really cool. Having a chance to play against your former team who held you hostage and refused to pay you is a completely different ballgame. So I know he's going to be fired up each and every week.
And, when we're talking about needs that the Ravens still have, obviously they were able to restructure Lamar's contract. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But they still have a lot of room. Do you expect them to maybe go out and try to get another one of these big free agents that are out there?
I think they'll have the opportunity, right? The longer guys hang around, that generally tells you their contract's going to be a little bit cheaper. So when you think about the Ravens, they're the place that's kind of like, right player, right price. And they have some wiggle room here. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But they can never have too many pass rushers, and you also need to add another receiver or so to the fold. So we'll see what happens and what guys out there late to kind of mesh with Zay Flowers.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I still think that there are moves to be made, and they're able to make those moves because they restructured Lamar's contract earlier this week. When we come back, we are going to talk about the Lamar restructure. That's not an extension. I'm going to get Torrey's thoughts on that when Purple Playbook continues.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The winning prognosis, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. Care bravely.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. I'm Alex Glaze alongside 2-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith. Lamar Jackson, his contract restructured this week. The Ravens and Lamar were not able to come up and agree on an extension, but the restructure allowed the Ravens to go out and make some moves. Eric DeCosta spoke about what the negotiations were like with Lamar earlier this week.
We kind of ran out of time, and we're able to free up, I think, just under $40 million this year. Added a void year to 2030, I believe. Certainly hopeful that we'll get an extension done. I think it's important to both parties, but we remain to see what's going to take place in the future.
Ran out of time. We know how long that first extension took back in 2023. It was when they got it done finally. But what do you make of running out of time, given the pressure that was on this deal to get done from Steve Bisciotti, who came out and said he was hoping to have this done by the beginning of free agency?
Yeah, and an agreement works both ways, right? So clearly they didn't come to terms with what they agreed with. I imagine it's probably had to do something with years or guaranteed money. But they got I anticipated a full-blown extension. We knew something was going to happen. The restructure works for what the team needs, but you had to lock in Lamar long-term. I think it's a situation where a deal can still get done before the season, but obviously doing it now takes a lot of pressure off. There's nothing to really kind of discuss right now, but Lamar is like the most free-spirited contract person in the history of the game. he just kind of just goes with it, right? He's not worried about it. He'll go earn his keeps. And it's crazy because you knew whatever deal he had was going to make him the highest paid player in the league, but it's still like, hey, he wants to get it on his terms and what he's comfortable with. So I really respect that about him, but he also got the deal restructured, so now he's in a position to have help and to continue to build the team. So the team will get it done. Lamar's a Raven, right? He's a guy that you picture retiring here, right, with that type of legacy, with the Super Bowl in hand. So the Ravens aren't in the business of starting over at that position. And Lamar's going to be the guy just about figuring out what it's going to take.
Do you have any questions when something like this doesn't fall through about Lamar's commitment to Baltimore and being here long term? I think that before everything came out last summer, and we know through reading through the documents that he was looking for fully guaranteed, and there were some behind-the-scenes disagreements that maybe we would not have been privy to. Do you have any concerns about maybe Lamar not wanting to be here?
Well, Lamar cannot want to be here, but the team still has another year of a deal, a franchise tag.
He's under control through, I believe, 2027.
Right? So, the team still has leverage there. Now, obviously, no team wants a player that doesn't want to be there, but Lamar's not the guy that causes that kind of drama. He kind of just takes care of his business. And that they ran out of time, I think that's hilarious to me because I always feel like deals can be done in 5 minutes if teams want to do it and if the players can get to a point where they agree. But I have to feel like, again, Lamar knows what he wants. Is he still pressing for a fully guaranteed contract? I'm not sure. I think you got to continue to go by what the narrative is. And right now, Dak Prescott didn't get it, who's currently the highest paid player in the league. You just want to get as much of it guaranteed as possible. And I'm sure length of contract and that are what really held everything up.
And we're talking about this being the right time, in my opinion, for this deal to get done because, Torrey, we've talked about it on this show in the past. This is a new era of Ravens football, right? This is a new regime taking over, and we know Lamar's history of showing up to the voluntary portion of the offseason. This is going to be a new offense, new terminology, new packages. I'm not going to be surprised now if Lamar doesn't show up to these voluntary workouts because he doesn't have his new deal. So why would he? It's going to be business as usual for Lamar as opposed to you commit to the player commits to whatever you guys have going on here. I don't think it should be anyone's surprise surprise to anyone if Lamar doesn't show up come OTAs.
Yeah, I think at this point people have to learn this. Not a surprise that he doesn't show up. It's a surprise if he does, right? I think that's just how he goes about his offseason, right? And there are plenty of players in this league that do go and they come in and out or they're there at a certain time, and you would like to see your quarterback there. You would like to see your quarterback there for at least the important dates. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every date that the team has on the calendar is important. The coaches will, but I'll tell you as a former player, that's absolutely not the truth. But when you're trying to learn a new offense, it is a big deal, and it says a lot when your quarterback is in the building. You may be able to get some of those other vets back. And I always like to use this because we're going to be talking about this in the next few weeks, and we're going to be talking about why Lamar should be there, and he ain't going to be there, all right? I'm going to keep saying it, and if he's there, I'll be the most surprised person in America, right? But he's won 2 MVPs doing it this way, right? He's played very well doing it this way. So it's one of those things where it's you would like to see him there, but Aaron Rodgers wasn't around his team all the time, and he was performing at a high level. But you do see guys that do. So it's one of those things that go either way. But to me, the biggest thing is is Lamar healthy? Is Lamar a Raven, which he is? And will he be in position to help this team get over the hump? And I think he's consistently shown that he can play at that level.
And really quick before we go to break, we're going to talk about all the Ravens, former Ravens, I should say, that have found new homes. Tyler Linderbaum, you texted me on Monday or Tuesday, one of those days, about that deal. I mean, he's getting wide receiver money out in Vegas. A massive deal for Linderbaum. And the big thing, we were just talking about it, a 3-year deal. So he's going to get another major contract. Just what do you think about when we're talking about the Raiders and what they're trying to build there? Obviously, they have the number 1 pick, presumably going to get Fernando Mendoza, set up their quarterback. He's going to have his center now and set the tone for that offensive line, someone who's established in this league, one of the top centers in the game. What do you think what can that do to change the Raiders' trajectory?
Oh, man, you have to build from the trenches on out. When you have a guy that's played at a high level, that understands a winning culture. So whether people believe it or not, the Ravens haven't won the Super Bowl in X amount of years, but it's very much still a winning culture. And so you have a guy that you're bringing in. You have a head coach that is coming off of winning a Super Bowl. you try to build around guys that understand what it takes to be successful. And I always say, if I can draft a lineman at this point, I need to pick somebody from Iowa. So you know what Tyler is all about. I'm happy for him. He earned that contract. And you were right. You called it. You said, he's not signing back. I was like, there's no way they're going to pay. He's going to make that much. And boy, was I wrong. And you were absolutely right. So shout out to Tyler. Great guy. He earned it. And that's just the business. I'm happy for him.
Wide receiver money, though. That's crazy. I think I saw that he's making more than like Devontae Adams, Nico Collins. Just
new big dog in the locker room.
Yeah, seriously.
He's going to keep all that money, too.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the other Ravens that have found new homes, specifically the New York Ravens. Feels like every Ravens free agent either went to New York or LA. We're going to break it all down when Purple Playbook continues.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. The Bottom Line, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. It's time for something or nothing. I'm going to throw out a topic, Torrey, and you tell me if it's something or nothing. I'll tell you, I'm going to, spoiler, a lot of something going on this week. But we got to start with the legal tampering period because this Max Crosby situation has the whole league talking. I don't personally believe that the Ravens were intentionally doing anything nefarious, but you have to ask now, is the legal tampering period dead as we know it, given the fact that, the Raiders thought they had 2 first-round picks coming their way. They thought Maxx Crosby was coming off their books, and then at the last minute, that gets taken away. Do you think that the legal tampering period, something needs to change with that?
I don't think it does, because all trades they have contingencies in it. It's based on if you pass the physical, and he didn't pass their physical. Now, if you would tell me, especially for a player's perspective, is there a way to get your scans done? Is there a way to do these things without traveling to the team? Or they do it in a way where it's not out in the media? I think that would be helpful because at that point, he had in his mind that he was a Raven. Like, that's the toughest part to me from a player's perspective. But the reality of it is, guys fail physicals all the time, right? They do.
Because physicals are also like, there's not just one physical that you pass or fail. It's subject to whoever is judging the physical, correct?
Right.
You know better than
you
I
see
would.
that at the combine all the time. Like, there's some teams that will not draft you. That guys at the combine, that just happened a few weeks ago, there are certain players that the Baltimore Ravens may draft that the Pittsburgh Steelers may not draft based on their medical evaluations. The one thing that people have to know that the league definitely looks into is that if you go and you do fail your physical or if you pass it, now if that same injury happens on our watch or it gets aggravated, now they're kind of on the hook for it. So there's a business play here that goes beyond the lines that people aren't aware of. So that's why you don't see teams rushing to go and sign guys when or just push them on through. Like it has to fit all the way around. You're talking millions of dollars. Whole lot of money here.
A lot of money.
So, and draft picks. Like, it has to be right.
Absolutely. All right. And we're talking about some of the free agents that left Baltimore. It's got to be like 9 or 10 guys that are
like everybody
that are out of here. And a good number of them are headed to New York to play for an old friend, John Harbaugh, with the Giants. Did you make anything of the New York Giants? Because to me, the way I'm looking at it, guys are following John, which makes a lot of sense. I don't see anyone signing up to go to Cleveland, follow Todd Monken. For all we heard about, there not being any tension, it doesn't seem like anyone's signing up to go over there.
Well, I don't think anyone in life signs up to go to Cleveland,
well,
right?
It's the Giants, so it's
you
not
had
like
you had the New York Ravens and the Los Angeles, the Los Angeles
Ravens West and
both
Ravens,
of them, right?
Yeah.
But I think that going to a place where you're familiar with the head guy is a big deal. And I think that goes both ways. That would go for the Browns as well. But if you ask me right now, as much as I hate the cold, if I could pick, it's not even close. I'm going to New York each and every time, right? I'd rather live in Jersey than live in Cleveland.
The taxes?
I don't care about the taxes. I don't want to live in Cleveland. Cleveland's miserable. All right, so you have Cleveland, right? I think Coach Monk is going to do a great job there. But when you have a guy that you know, trust, and love, and Coach Harbaugh, people have to remember, obviously, players are going to go where they get paid, right?
Sure.
But relationship does matter. And Coach Harbaugh was and still is a very good leader. And so I'm not surprised at all. When you have someone that knows what you're capable of, that truly believes in you, you want to go there. That's going to give you the best chance to play out your contract.
We have less than a minute. I just want to touch on a couple of the guys. Pat Ricard leaving doesn't surprise me too much. Different offense, I think, coming here. Jordan Stout getting paid. Good for him, coming off an all-pro year. The one that stood out to me was Isaiah Likely, because when you look at his deal compared to Mark Andrews' deal, They look almost the same. Just what did you make of the deal likely got to go to New York?
I'm excited for him. What, number 3 tight end money, right? Top 5 guy for a player that hasn't played top 5 reps or had top 5 opportunities. So it's a big deal for him. I'm excited for him. Obviously a friend of the show here,
Sure,
been able to see him grow and blossom over the years, and I'm excited for him. And he earned it, and that's what, as a player, listen, I'm pro player all day. Go get your money, take care of your family, and I'm excited for him.
Fresh start for him, joining Malik Neighbors, Jackson Dart, Cam Scadaboo, just a nice young core out there in New York. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple of Terps coming home. When Purple Playbook continues, get Torrey's thoughts on that.
This is the Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank. Now, WJZ's Purple Playbook, brought to you by M&T Bank.
And welcome back to Purple Playbook. As we wrap up the show, we got to wrap up the free agency talk for the week as well with 2 Terps coming back home. You got Nick Cross and Chig Okonkwo going to be playing for the Washington Commanders. 2 Terps.
Love it.
Coming back home.
Love it, man. It's all about those
Nick
guys.
DeMatha guy, too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, DMV roots there, so I'm excited for him to go and had the opportunity to play in front of his family, but also play in front of a team that he actually cared about and rooted for. That's like a childhood dream there. I have some tips about playing close to home. I'll definitely call him and tell him about, but I'm excited for him.
First one, no tickets. Just set the tone right away.
Yeah, tell them buy their own tickets. Worry about your own tickets. Get it out the way during the week, but, it's really cool. It's truly, and I was spoiled by having the opportunity to play not far from College Park and not a far drive from Virginia, but it is really cool to play in front of your family.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's Purple Playbook. For 2-time Super Bowl champion Torrey Smith, I'm Alex Glaze. We do this show every week, and we will be back as Trey Hendrickson gets introduced. We're going to talk more about that next week.